Welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at this video, Modern Dating is Psychological Warfare, by a channel called Alex Way. So I was watching this the other day, thought I would make a response, so let's get into it.
Modern dating isn't just confusing, it's psychological warfare. It means swiping until your brain is numb, getting ghosted after 3 weeks of texting, being told you're amazing and then just blocked randomly one day, being led on, given false hope, and just dropped like you're some kind of bad investment. This video is not for the people out there who are already winning. If you happen to be in a great relationship, you're happily married, or you're thriving on Tinder, whatever that means, congrats, but this video isn't for you. This is for the people who I know are struggling. And it goes both ways. The guys who have been invisible for their entire lives. The girls who feel like dating apps have turned them into products on a digital shelf. The people who feel like love, connection, and romance are just slipping further away no matter how hard they try. The people who've done everything right, worked on themselves, hit the gym, built a great social circle, tried to be emotionally available, and then you still find yourself alone on a Friday night eating some fast food and watching YouTube videos. And the worst part of it all is that many people will literally try to gaslight you into believing that it's all your fault, that you have a shit personality, that you should have tried harder, you should have done something better in some way. It's always your fault. But
Oh yeah, it can sometimes be your fault, but when it comes to online dating, it just that is, I think, where it's all coming from is this, social media, like online dating. It's basically made physical appearance more important than ever, because people can just swipe left without even giving you a chance, without seeing your other attributes, like your interests and things like that. And it's just not really fair, is it, that a lot of people just aren't getting a chance. They're not even getting the foot in the door. A lot of men, especially, that a lot of they might not be the most attractive, and you're probably gonna have better success in person, if you find the right kind of groups and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's not so easy now. A lot of guys are struggling to, maybe they're just not confident enough to go and approach, and it just feels kind of odd. Like, especially when you're seeing a lot of women online saying, "Oh, I don't want you to approach me." So then a lot of men are just like, "Well, I'm not going to approach them." Then I don't think they want me to approach them. Unless they're showing some obvious sign that they're interested, then most men are just going to be like, "You know what? Screw it." It's just, I don't want to take that risk. They don't want to feel humiliated, because there's times where they could get brutally rejected now. It's just, yeah, it's just become so toxic. And then online dating, where it goes on about this more, on about the Tinder and all that stuff. But let's carry on.
But the truth is that it's simply not the case. Obviously, sometimes it might be, but there are bigger, more complicated societal issues at hand here. So stop letting people manipulate you into questioning your own self-worth, which is something I used to do. Obviously, you've got to try to be the best person you can be, but at the same time, the system is fundamentally broken.
Yeah, exactly. That is really hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, it's the system is broken. The people are just not meeting in a kind of normal way anymore. Like, it's become too much about, and it's like, I'm kind of guilty of this, where it's like I would, like, look at someone that I meet someone online or whatever, and be like, "Oh, I don't know about that person. They're not that good looking." So, but it's like we can kind of, just like, yeah, not give someone a chance. And I think, if you meet someone in person, you might be more likely to give them a chance, even if they're not the best looking, if you get on with each other. But I don't know. I mean, of course, we're allowed to have our own standards, our own preferences. But yeah, it's rough out there.
I just want to start off with some basic numbers. You might have seen these before, but for example, data from Tinder and other dating apps have consistently shown that a small percentage of men get a huge percentage of all the matches. There are other numbers about how women rate the vast majority of men as having below average attractiveness, even if it statistically doesn't make sense. Other
Yeah, it's so ridiculous that the levels of delusion when, like, because of, like you got women who think that most men are below average attractiveness, even though objectively that can't be the case. 50% of guys are going to be above average, right? So, and 50% are going to be below average. So just statistically speaking, the math don't math there.
Report studies have shown that a majority of people in Gen Z say that they feel like they're burned out from dating as a whole. There's even movements for men to, just avoid interacting with women completely.
Yeah, I know about that.
Happening? It's because we've created a culture where dating feels more like applying to a job than actually forming a bond. Where matches are meaningless and conversations rarely lead anywhere, and people are exhausted of it. The dating app, just like every other thing in the world nowadays seemingly, has become commodified. It's simply just a market now. And when there's a market, there are market concepts like supply and demand. And right now, the dating market has a huge supply chain issue.
Yeah.
On dating apps, most women only swipe on the top 10 to 20% of men's profiles.
Yeah.
And on these apps, you really have nothing else to judge except for looks. The result of all this is that average and below average looking guys are just left with nothing, while these top guys, on the other hand, are just drowning in options. So it's not an even...
I mean, you can do things to improve your chances, like there has been, like examples where some average guy would, really sort of, get the best photos and really max it out. But even then, it's like they're not oftentimes really getting that many results, and oftentimes they might just end up having to settle rather than being with the one that they would have wanted to be with anyway. Like they're just they might end up with the odd one that they can date, but then will that even be successful? So yeah, even because I remember there was this like average guy experiment, and then Wheat Waffles did his own experiment where he tried to max out his dating profile and really get the best lighting and the best kind of photos and stuff for it, and he did get a bit of success with it, but it's like it doesn't seem that he was really that successful. Even him with the best just optimizing it for him, say he would say it's probably about a 6 out of 10, maybe something like that. And yeah, but it can help some people, I guess. But yeah, the dating apps are it's a joke. I mean, let's carry on.
Even playing field, like in the past where people were encouraged to match 1-to-1. Nowadays it's a winner-take-all model where there are men out there who literally have harems of women, while the vast majority are left with breadcrumbs. And the worst part is that it creates a vicious cycle that doesn't just hurt men, it hurts the women too. Those few guys at the very top, they don't commit because they don't have to. There are always so many options, it's like choosing from a buffet for them. So they do things like rotate through.
Yeah, a lot of them don't even know that they're in a harem. Like they're with this guy thinking that he's committing to her, but then he's got a roster of other women that he's seeing. So she's like, oh, why is he not talking to me that much? So she might be like thinking that she's not good enough or something, but he's secretly talking to other women. It's just so messed up. Anyway, let's carry on.
navigate through matches. I think nowadays they call it spinning plates. Leave people on red, ghost with no explanations, smash and dash, all that good stuff.
Smash and
then a
dash,
lot of
pump
the
and
women
dump,
just
all that.
keep running into these same guys because that's the only guys that they'll go for. And since that's their only experience, they end up generalizing things like all men cheat or all men are bad, while the truth is that most men are just invisible.
Yeah.
It's simple math, maybe not even considered math. Let's say 10 women match with the same guy. He keeps them around for attention, maybe hooks up with some of them, maybe strings a few of them along, and then eventually he settles down and picks one of them. But then the other 9 women, they're left thinking that they did something wrong, or that all...
Yeah, that's it, like, that's the thing if you have, like the unrealistic standards where, yeah, you might get a bit of fun with this person, this Chad or whatever, and they're like, oh, he's gonna commit to me, but the thing is that most likely not, because he's got all these other options, and what is the chances that you're gonna be the one for him? I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. If you're a woman watching this and you're like, you're talking to some guy and he's like really hot, whatever, unless you're like, really have something going for you, then unfortunately, he's probably just stringing you along. So let's carry on.
All guys behave like this. And at the same time of all this, there are tens of other guys who never even got a match in the first place, just sitting there in silence, wondering why no one swipes on them, and thinking about downloading a premium version of Tinder or some shit. A lot of these dynamics wouldn't exist to this extent in the real world, but saying just go outside and meet someone naturally is easier said than done when a growing percentage of people are relying on meeting online nowadays. Dating apps have taken everything real and meaningful about meeting people, things like body language, energy, humor, and just flattened it into a few pictures and a one-liner. They've literally reduced people into pixels and preferences. And it should be obvious by now, but if you're not conventionally attractive, you have no chance. No amount of game or riz is gonna convince someone to like you based on your pictures, because on these apps, you're just not a person. You're an algorithmically ranked image. You can be all the good things, funny, loyal, emotionally intelligent, but if your jawline don't pop, you're just gonna get skipped. I mean, not literally, but you know what I mean. These platforms are designed to be high-speed rejection machines. That's just what they are. And worst of all, they're gamified and therefore addicting. You start chasing validation instead of connection, and it just becomes a dopamine loop. Swipe, match, message, silence, repeat. 90% of the time, it seems like that. The moment you stop getting matches or replies, you feel anxious. When you do get one, it feels like you won the lottery. Only in hopes to just be crushed again a few days later.
Yeah, this is just
weird emotional whiplash. Like I've talked about it.
Emotional whiplash. Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's just, just get your hopes up just to shatter them. Let's go on.
In one of my other videos before, and a lot of people seem to relate with that. And it leaves you constantly questioning your own worth. Did I say something wrong? Was my photo not good enough? Why did they unmatch? And yet, dating apps are still more popular than ever because these corporations have every strategy in the book to get you on them. The most super...
I just want to say that the problem is a lot of these people that are on dating apps are not for real. Like, for example, a lot of these women are just there to play games. They're there just for their own validation. Like we were talking about, like seeking validation rather than connection. And I've like talked to women on these apps, and it would just end up being a waste of time. Like where they would show interest and they would even, like talk to them offline, and then it would just end up going nowhere because they probably were never serious to begin with. So you have a lot of these traps where the thing is, some of these might actually find you attractive, but they're just too addicted to the dopamine from getting validation. So then once that goes dry, then they'll just move on to somebody else, and it's just sad, really. And it's carry on.
Superficial dating option is now the most common. How fucked up is that? So unless you're in the top 10% of looks, you're just stuck playing a losing game. Another topic I feel like we gotta talk about is just standards. Obviously, as with everything, it goes both ways. It's not just men or women, but on this front, I think women take the cake. What used to be sort of bonus things to have, like being 6 feet tall, making $100,000 a year, driving a fancy car, a lot of those are now minimum requirements for
Yeah.
a convert.
I actually saw someone put a post out on Facebook about how a man should be earning a minimum of $150,000 per year. So that's like probably 100K in our currency. It's just absolutely ridiculous saying that, oh, if you're not making at least $150,000 per year, you should rethink trying to get a girlfriend. I'm like, are you for real? Like, how much does the average man earn? I think it's like $60,000 per year. So it's about 2.5 times what the average man is earning. And I don't think, even like, say, a 50, 60-year-old man who, has been, grinding away is probably going to be earning that much. I mean, it's crazy, like, to think that, to expect a man to be earning about $12,000 per month. Are you kidding me? It's like saying, oh, well, they need to earn that much to have a family. It's like, really? I mean, it's a joke, like, when these people are like expecting that men should be earning so much money, and then for what though? Just to have half of his money taken away from him? Why would he want to waste so much of his energy to make all that money just to have it taken? So yeah, so a lot of men are like, even if they can get a woman, they're just like, why would I want to bother financially supporting them when, if they're a stay-at-home mother, okay, but that much money that they expect you to make, though? I mean, come on. I don't know. I mean, not every woman is a gold digger or anything like that, of course, but it's just a lot of women nowadays see that's the only value that they can get from a man now. I don't know. They seem to be, I don't know, I guess it's this feminism and all that, and being like, oh, well, I'm strong and independent, and unless you're, financially, it's just, they start to then realize it's like, okay, I want a man to financially support me. I'm kind of like going off on a bit of a tangent here, but it's, hang on, I just need to. Sorry about this.
With an
hang on.
attractive
All
girl
right,
because she's
Hang on.
flooded with matches and
I just need to plug my charger in just so it doesn't go off middle of the video. So that would not be good. Right. So let's carry on with this video.
messages like every minute. So it's like a hyper competition where you have to constantly prove that you're better than the next guy. But who wants to go through all that? It seems like you have to be everything nowadays and also manage to not give her one of 568 eggs. You need all the
568
stuff I mentioned
eggs.
before, but you also need to be an emotional support system, a stand-up comedian, a personal trainer, a therapist, all wrapped into one. And if you're not, left swipe, next guy, unmatch. Another elephant in the room is just height, and I'm definitely not 5'6" and biased about this, but for real, on apps like Hinge, I think, you're literally required to put your height. You don't even have the option to hide it. I saw this insane graph the other day where less than 10% of women on these apps would even consider someone my height. More than 90% filter out 5'6" and below. But even
That is crazy. Yeah, 90%. Wow, that is brutal. Of course, yeah, like, in real life, you're probably going to have more success. I mean, you see, like, some short guys, like, getting women, so, I actually know some that, they're not particularly tall, but they've got a woman, so, I don't think in real life it seems to matter as much, but on these apps that they can just, because they have so much power, because they can just swipe left on so many people and still have so many options. It's crazy. I mean, let's carry on.
Even guys who are like normal or above average, 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", if that exists, are gonna struggle with dating because their pool has automatically been shrunken. Many girls don't even consider them as an option. And it's kind of a double standard too. Like imagine if men said they only wanted women who are under 130 pounds. Society would explode, you know, people would riot in the streets.
Yeah, that's right. It's like you see when like the and women are like, oh, I only want a tall guy, and then like men are like, oh well, how much do you weigh? And then they get triggered. And the thing is, it's like, being tall isn't something you can control. You can't really control your height. I mean, as far as I'm aware, like once you've got tall, like to a certain height, then there's not really much you can do other than surgery, I guess. But then when it comes to weight, a lot of people can actually, do something about that if they really wanted to. Now, of course, there is some people that are going to really struggle, but regardless, it's like, it's okay to have preferences. It's okay to not want a woman that's rotund, shall we say, and it's okay if a woman wants a guy who's taller. That's fine, but the problem is that online dating has really made people's standards ridiculous. Anyway, let's continue.
But somehow we accept these specific body standards and accept this kind of body shaming as normal. And obviously people are allowed to have preferences. There's some guys who get very angry about it when there's no reason to. It's natural for a girl to want someone taller. But nowadays it seems like we've created a system where the standards aren't just high, they're impossibly high. A place where most people, especially the average guy, are never gonna reach. Because things like height and your face, you can't really change that. At the end of the day, this hurts both sides. Women are told to expect the world, then end up disappointed when reality comes crashing down. Men are told to become the world, but this constant striving for unattainable goals, it breaks you inside. Another big thing in dating culture nowadays is just rejections and ghosting. Things like that used to be rare, but now it's the default. In a system where everyone is online and really just an avatar, nothing more than that, you don't feel bad unmatching or leaving someone on red, or even flaking on plans to grab drinks and dinner tomorrow. There's no accountability anymore because it's not like you'll ever see these people again. These are just digital profiles that'll go into the ether without you ever having to see them again. There's no emotional weight or investment in anything anymore. Even if you do happen to meet up with someone you met online, every date seems like a gamble. Dress up, you show up, you try to present your best self, and the person across from you just looks at you like you're, at best, just another option of the hundreds of other ones they have lined up. I don't think I met a single long-term relationship couple who said that they met from a dating app. It just doesn't work.
I actually have heard of a few people that have had, a successful relationship online, but I'd say that they are probably outliers. They're not the norm. If it's successful long term, I think they find that on average it tends to fail way more than it's successful. I would say the best way to meet is probably in more kind of like, doing things you enjoy doing, like at certain clubs, certain venues, around a certain activity or a certain passion. So anyway, let's carry on.
Work that way. And the psychological effects of all these failures and rejections, they're real. One rejection, sure enough, you'll bounce back. But once you get 10 in a row, hundreds, in whatever way, whether it be unmatching, ghosting, flaking, or just getting left out to dry after the date, after so many of those experiences, again, you start to question your own worth. You start to wonder if you're even dateable. Maybe there's something.
Yeah, it's demoralizing, isn't it, when you're just constantly getting ghosted, constantly getting flicked on or whatever. It just makes you feel like, what is wrong here? Like, what is this even for me? Like, but the thing is, there's nothing wrong with you. Probably it's probably their issue that they've just got crazy high standards because of all these matches they keep getting. It's been boosting their egos, and yeah, they think that they can just do what they want. Let's carry on.
Something fundamentally wrong with you. And what makes it worse is just how normalized it's become. We've collectively accepted that ghosting is okay, that flaking is fine, that stringing people along is just a part of the game. There's no respect or dignity in it anymore. It shouldn't be that way, but it is.
I know.
Well, dating was supposed to be about connection, not confusion. And yet, here we are. And then there's also, hookup culture. This idea pushed onto us by whoever, I'm not sure who it was. You guys can theorize for yourself. But we've been pushed this idea that casual sex is empowering, it's liberating, it's fun. And maybe it is, but only for some. Because for most people, especially the guys who struggle, hookup culture is actually a myth. It doesn't exist. For the top 10% of men and a majority of women, it's a hedonistic playground. But for everyone else, especially most guys, it's nothing. They just have endless rejections. You can't thrive in a hookup culture if you don't have the option to hook up. Like I've seen firsthand in college, the student athletes, the frat guys, the 6'5"ers, they get everything. And then the rest of the guys are just left with nothing. Most of us don't actually reap the benefits from this so-called hookup culture anyways. It only works for the people of top-tier attractiveness. And then at the same time, you're told things like, oh, just be confident or just work on yourself, bro, while you haven't had a meaningful interaction in months. But even for the people who do participate in it, almost everyone says it makes them feel worse, empty, used, regretful. Hookup culture.
Yeah, that's it, because it's just, there's no meaningful connection there. You just do this act once and then you forget about each other. It's just completely, there's no soul in it, just, yeah.
Culture doesn't build any sort of real connections and even ruins your ability to do so in future relationships.
Yeah, exactly. There's this, I think I've heard that it's especially in women that if they get with too many like partners, they actually will be like comparing their previous partners to you, and it makes it harder for them to pair bond. That oxytocin is going to be lowered over time. They're going to struggle to be loyal to you, and then you could say it's going to be the case as well with men. I mean, actually, men tend to cheat a lot. So, but yeah, like a lot of these women have become, where they'd be like unsatisfied because they've had so many guys inside them that they're like, oh, I'm not really satisfied in this relationship now because this guy that I was seeing casually was, like he was taller or whatever, or he was more jacked or whatever. Like it just, a lot of times they'll be like, they're kind of trying to make out their perfect man based on like the best qualities of all these men that they've already had. So anyway, let's carry on.
It offers the illusion of closeness without any of the effort. So something like sex has just become yet another dopamine hit, another form of validation. And once you take the meaning out of it, you're left chasing something that doesn't really satisfy in the long term, and you become numb, detached, disconnected from what it means to ever love or be loved. Fuck, that sounds kind of cringe, but it's true.
Yeah, it is true.
Society itself has made connection much harder. I talk about this a lot, and many other people do as well, but it's so true that there's just a lack of third spaces nowadays. We go to work, we go home, we go to the gym, we scroll on our phones, we watch TV and YouTube, we order DoorDash. So we're more connected than ever through the internet, but somehow lonelier than we've ever been. Community centers are gone or just filled with old people. Cafes are filled with people staring at their laptops instead of having conversations. Parks are quiet for the most part. But yeah, that's the reason why more and more people are turning to these dating apps in the first place. It's not as if they've just appeared out of a vacuum. There was a void in the marketplace and those dating apps fulfilled it. Because there's nowhere else left. Aside from like
Yeah, I mean, like, well, yeah, clubs and bars, but yeah, a lot of these places, people don't really meet to, they don't go to meet their long term partner, do they? They just go in there to have fun. But yeah, like a third spaces is a good point. It's yeah, you go to these. Yeah, even just like when you're out and about in the streets and everyone's just staring at their phone, they're not engaging with each other. Like imagine if everyone was all trying to sort of try to get conversation going on with each other. They're all trying to, all saying hi to each other, all trying to just initiate conversation as they're walking about, and everyone just all seems to be like in a rush to get somewhere, and they don't seem to want to hang out and even just make friends with each other. Everyone's just all in their own bubble nowadays. Yeah, I don't think it used to be like that at all. Like back in the day, I know it sounds like I'm talking like a boomer. Oh, back in my day, it was so different to what it's like now. Uh,
Like clubs and bars, but then those generally aren't the places that you're going to be looking for a long-term relationship
yeah, like
from.
I said, yeah.
In the end, really the very fabric of society is being unraveled, and most of us are just stuck here trying to find meaning in the scraps of it all.
Yeah.
So what do we do about all this? I don't know. It's your life. I'm not here to act like I know everything and tell you what to do. I'm just here to talk about these issues and at least get you thinking about it so that maybe one day you can find a solution for yourself. But I will say that my personal philosophy, honestly, is just that I stopped caring. Not in a bitter way, but more in a peaceful way, in a freeing way. I've had my experience with dating and relationships, especially in college. I've talked about those in some of my previous videos that are a little bit personal, so now I've made them private but still available to members, so feel free to join that if you'd like to see some of those videos. But ultimately, I've accepted the fact that I may never find someone. I hope I will, but just looking at things realistically, it's not a guarantee anymore, especially with someone like me who's extremely short and not the best looking either. But that's not me giving up. It's just me taking back my sanity. And I'm sure a lot of men and women can relate to it. What I mean is that I don't expect things anymore. I don't feel entitled to these things anymore. I used to think that, if I just worked hard enough on myself, if I improve my looks, if I improve my body, if I style my hair the right way, make a lot of money, I used to think if I did all of that, then someone would come along. But I realized it doesn't really work like that. Maybe something will happen someday, but at least I haven't found it helpful to be kind of expecting and seeking out that sort of thing. In the meantime, I've just decided I'm just gonna live for myself. Because when you stop chasing validation, you start chasing meaning and other things that are on a little bit higher level than just your primal desires. Sure.
Yeah, that's it. It's about trying to find purpose in life. I think that's what people should be prioritizing. And maybe they'll meet somebody through that, maybe whatever their goals are in life, and maybe they find someone that has a shared goal and then they build a connection off that. But if not, then that's fine. You're still going to live a good life because you are providing some kind of value. You're just. Anyways, carry on.
You can call it a cope, but I don't think it's wrong to say that life can be beautiful even without romance. There's a lot of stuff in this world to look forward to. I'll straight up say that finding love in a relationship, you might never get that, but I'll also say that we live in a really cool world with a lot of stuff to live for, a lot of things to be excited about, and a lot of things to pursue that are worthwhile. So your worth isn't measured by who texts you back, and your solitude isn't failure. You can think of it as peace, and that space that you have mentally just lets you grow even more until.
Yeah, like that. There was this guy did a response to, and he said he was like 3 out of 10 because he don't get, like any attention from women and whatever. And I'm like, he's just really devaluing himself. Like he's basing his value on what women think. So we need to just stop really caring what women judges us and try to just live for yourself. Try not to worry about whether some woman likes you or not. I mean, if necessary, then there is other options like moving abroad or something like that can be an option for some guys. But let's carry on.
Till maybe, who knows, the time is right and someone does come along. So in the end, modern dating is psychological warfare. But if you're losing, it doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong with you. It means you're human. But you can always choose to stop fighting for anyone else's approval and instead start fighting for your own peace. You can walk away from a game that's rigged. You can choose dignity over desperation. Because while modern dating is broken, you don't have to be. That's another hard quote to end it, I think. Anyways, I feel like, again, I covered a lot of stuff, but I hope you got the main points of this.
Alright, well, yeah, that's, I'll just keep playing it till the end.
Video, and if you enjoyed it or you found some kind of value out of it, or if any of my videos on this channel have ever helped you in some way,
Alright.
I'd really appreciate if you join.
Okay, like that's it then. So, great video. Yeah, so like I was saying, but there is, some places that men are moving to overseas, and they find that it might just be a better life in general for them. Like just maybe the culture or whatever. Like for example, going to live in Asia or somewhere like that, South America. They might just feel like the vibe's just better over there in general. A less stressful lifestyle. They can they can leverage the Western economy. They can get better value for their money over there. So that's another reason why some guys are moving abroad. And but yeah, the dating in the West has become very, very difficult. I've heard a lot of Western guys are having a way better experience abroad. Even online dating, they're finding it's better in places like South America, Southeast Asia. I remember there was this guy who went to, I think, Dominican Republic, and he almost instantly found somebody, and it just goes to show that how different it can be in different countries. So yeah, if you're struggling over here, maybe that can be an option. But if it's not somewhere you want to go to, don't just go there because you want to find someone. You should be living for yourself, not to try and just to get some woman. That is, to me, that's just kind of not very masculine, is it? True masculine men will just live on their purpose, and they don't really care about female validation and all that. Just that if they get it, then great, but it's not what they're chasing. They're chasing success and meaning and purpose. So yeah, I think it was a good thorough video on all the reasons why dating sucks nowadays, that it's rigged. There's a lot of gaslighting now, that men are told that there's something wrong with them, whatever. I mean, like I did this video on this guy the other day. I mean, I said there might have been something up with his personality. Maybe there is, but I mean, but the thing is, even for just your average guys now, they're struggling. Even if they do have a good personality, it is getting hard out there. I will admit that. You just you just gotta focus on you. Stop chasing after love and attention and all that. You've got to find it within yourself, because once you find it within yourself, then there's less of a need to find it externally. You've got to love yourself. I know it might sound cringe and kind of, I don't know, just you have to just not be seeking anything external in general. Even things like money, I would say, is something that in my opinion, we shouldn't be trying to strive so much for, because it's just going to lead you to be, you're just going to end up selling your soul. And a lot of guys now, they're selling their soul just to try and just get a little bit of attention for a woman. They're doing things that they wouldn't have otherwise done. They would waste so much time. But yeah, I mean, obviously women have it difficult as well now. They're getting used. They're getting, these men where they want to be with them, and then they just string them along. So it's not a gender issue, it's a societal issue, and that is something that needs to be resolved. I think it's something that I don't know if it's ever going to resolve, but yeah, like what's going to happen to make things better? I mean, is there any way that this is ever going to improve? Let me know what you guys think down below. Like, what is it something that has to happen, like by some law or something? I don't know. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of doing things like that. I like people to be free and all that, but some might say that dating apps should be banned. Like that they should be. But how are you supposed to implement that though? Because it's easier said than done, right? Because there's that many of them that. How is it even going to work? I feel like it's almost like too far gone, and then yeah, it's even like people using apps like Instagram as like a dating app. Where you get say like someone who's attractive, they'll post a image of themselves, and then especially a lot of these attractive women, they'll get tons of messages, just even if they're just all right, they show some booty and some melons, and they're gonna have a great time with all this validation from all kinds of men. So yeah, that's the state that we're in now. Meeting in the real world is a lot less likely, but it can still happen if you have certain interests that you can go to certain groups and just start talking to them, but just don't go with any expectations though. Just be chill, just be cool, and good luck. But yeah, I'm just kind of focusing on me at the moment. Just if I really wanted to, I could probably go out and get someone. I just can't really be bothered right now. Anyway. Yeah, and to anyone someone was saying in a comment that about go on Tinder, and it's like I've had matches on there. It's just they're mostly time wasters on these apps. I'm like, even some of the actual women that weren't really catfishes, but they were just time wasters. So yeah, I've had some like responses and stuff, but I just can't be bothered. It's just really boring and just tedious. The online dating is not. It's just not worth it for most guys. I mean, even for someone like me, I don't know, unless I maybe got someone to help me out with the messaging or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm struggling with the messaging people. That's maybe what the problem was. But the thing is, a lot of these people are just there for their own validation anyway. They'll just string you along. So even if you really know what you're doing, is it going to work out anyway? So even if you do date them, what are their intentions on the date? So I just can't be bothered. I even had my own mother saying that she would help, to kind of, say the right things or something and arrange dates for me. But I don't know. I just can't be bothered. It's like whatever. It's just because they're all just superficial, and it's like, all right. I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. So have a great day, everybody. I'll see you all later. All right. Peace out, everybody. Bye for now.